Hey, welcome back to Building Out Loud, a podcast with me, Randy Silver, and
Faith Forster?
where every week we follow along with Faith as she's building out Discoveree. Faith, last week we spent a sad session talking about your bank account getting drained. What's going on this week? Is it better news?
It's definitely knocked my confidence, actually. Yeah, it's made me a lot more hesitant to be making changes in the platform, which I need to get over really quickly because I need to finalize this and get it out. I think I've been doing everything else first. I need to bite the bullet and get back onto Replit and get everything finished.
Well, I'm not sure if this will make you feel any better or not, but I had a very similar issue happen to me this past week with much lower consequences. I'll say that straight away, so not to mislead you. But I've been building out my own personal chief of staff system. I've been building on top of Dave Colleen's decks and Liam Darmody's run doc and making things work together. And it's been a lot of fun putting that all together. And I've been customizing it to the way I work and spending a lot of time with Claude doing that. And I got to a point last week where all of a sudden it stopped working. I said, "What's going on?" So, "Oh, you've run out of credits." So that's weird. Why would I run out of credits? I run everything on a fairly low model. I'm not doing anything all that interesting. And it turned out as we built some new agents and did some things, it started running it on a different model than I had said to. Now, on the other hand, I don't have auto reload turned on, and I only had about $10 worth of credits in that account because I don't really need anything. But it was just a huge surprise, and then so I put another $10 on, and it started running through them really quickly, and say, "Oh, okay, now I know what's going on." So I learned my lesson from you. So first off, thank you. And second off, this is not just a you thing. This is going to happen to all of us all the time unless we're incredibly careful.
I had that issue as well at one point because the models are updating all the time, right? So you also need to update the models that the agents are using. I can't remember exactly the context, but it was when the first model didn't work that it defaulted back to the most expensive model. It was chewing up credits, and it took me a little while to stop and ask, what's going on? Why is this so expensive? It turned out it was defaulting to the most expensive model instead of falling back to a standard model that was equivalent but using a different LLM provider. There was actually some good things that came out of it. I had some suspicions that not all of the agents were going through the single router that I use, which is also how I do all the tracing, and it's also how I track usage for billing. What I was getting charged on my account felt like a different amount to what I could see on the dashboard, but I hadn't actually gone through and reconciled it. I had put a circuit breaker in so that if something fails 3 times, it stops. I did have some more issues, but I picked them up a lot quicker. So I was like, what's going on? And it turned out there were some agents that weren't. This is like going back months now that I put that router in place, but there were some agents that still weren't going through that router. Yeah, that's just one example. There's been a number of things because I had to go through and work out what the source of the problem was. And so there's a number of things that I picked up through that have been a really positive thing. It happened again. So Gemini chewed up all the credits and it's been charging my account. And I did check all the settings in Gemini, and there are like 172 settings, I think, for this. So I like to find the one that would stop it from doing this is just impossible. Anyway, so I've just left it for the moment. I need to go back and go through the traces and work out what's going through Gemini, what it is that's triggered this again. So it's not completely resolved. Anyway, yeah, it's been a hard lesson, that one.
Yeah, that is. I don't even know what to say about that. So I'm going to pause on that for a moment and let's stop focusing about last week. Let's not even focus on this week for the moment. Let's talk about next week. Next week is a very big week for both of us, but mostly for you. So what's going on next week?
Oh my God, yeah, I'm so nervous. So I'm now speaking on the main stage at Mind the Product about what I learned
Woot woot.
in AI native product, yeah, Discoveree. So that's like 3,000 people. It's the most respected product management conference in London. So I'm so excited to be doing that. And like, it's such an honor and privilege to be asked to be on that stage. I have put together a storyline. From when I found out I was doing this until I got the storyline locked in yesterday, I just could not stop thinking about it at the back of my head. It was very distracting. I'm now confident about the storyline. I need to finalize the slides in the next couple of days and then practice it, make sure the delivery is okay. So super excited about that. We also have on the same week Productized in Lisbon, which again, huge hub for product management. Super excited about being on that main stage where we will be doing a live podcast recording of Building Out Loud, which again, super exciting, a little bit nerve-wracking in that Radhika Dutt, who is emceeing the event. We had a quick chat and she's like, can you share your slides or like tell me what you're going to be talking about so I can introduce you in a meaningful way? And I was like, well, we're just going to have a chat on stage. And she was like, what? So you and I, thankfully, we've got each other. We'll be doing that in front of, I think, 500 people on the main stage. We're also going to be running a workshop on the Manifesto, which we will hopefully have published later today. So that's going to be live for public comment and for people to pledge their support. I spent a lot of time working through everyone's comments yesterday. It was a huge amount of input from all of the contributors. It's in really great shape. Yeah, it's really exciting, and I hope will have a massive impact helping people really navigate this whole AI world.
As someone who has previously spoken at both of those conferences, you're in for a blast. They are a lot of fun to do. The stages at both of them, the London Mind the Product Conference, it's at the Barbican. It's this incredibly beautiful place, but it's the most beautiful stage. It feels incredibly intimate. It is a lovely, comfortable place to be. And the crowds at both conferences, they couldn't be nicer. They want you to be successful. They're interested in what you have to say. They're wonderful. So very much looking forward to it. I'll be there with you at both things. I'll be introducing some of the speakers and doing some Q&A at Mind the Product, and then obviously doing the live podcast and a workshop with you at Productized. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I spent some time on the Makers Manifesto on Friday and over the weekend looking at the comments and having some lovely debates with people and in the comments about things. And it's really interesting, the different things that are coming out, the different attitudes, the way people are working together in a lovely way to refine and improve it's down to the point where people are debating very specific words.
Yeah.
And the intent in many cases is the same, but we want to be as clear as possible. And it's really interesting just to see people from different parts of the world, people who are bringing different context to it. How does a certain word or phrase land with them, even if we're trying to say the same thing?
Yeah. There's been some interesting input from non-primary English-speaking people, which has been really helpful. Without question, there is not a single word on that document that has not been scrutinised, which is how it should be, right? Because people will read different things into it, and there will be unintentional consequences of it. And so it's been such a valuable process and exercise to have so many people from different disciplines around the world really challenging it, questioning it. Even as late as last night, I was swapping out some principles, added something else in. It's in really good shape, I think. I did a practice session for my presentation for Mind the Product, and some of the questions that came out from product leaders that I have a huge amount of respect for is an interesting way of really thinking about actually what guidance did people need from this manifesto and have we covered the right things. So it's in great shape. I think it'll be a really, really valuable resource for people, which I'm super, super proud of.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one last question about the manifesto, because I'm sure this is a topic we'll come back to, and then let's talk about this week. But one of the fundamental things that's come up about this Maker's Manifesto is in the world of AI, everything has changed, but nothing has changed. In that the things that are most important are still the same old things. It's how we work with them, what's accelerated, what's changed. And one of the big debates that's come up is some of the principles in there, they're not new. And some of the things do feel new. And so how do we make this relevant? And I've seen people really coming down on one side or the other on this in some cases. I'm curious, what's your perspective on this? Does every principle have to be new, or are some of them just reinforcing? Where are you?
Yeah. I had some more feedback about that, both in the document, but also people messaging me privately. We have very explicitly chosen to do both. So there are principles in there that are completely new concepts in an AI world. There are principles in there that are not completely new, but we've really emphasized or focused on the new aspects of it. And then there are a few, not many, but there are a few principles in there that are actually, this is still really important and is still true. So there's a bit of a mix, and that's quite intentional. So I've actually now called that out in the preamble to say that this is both addressing what has shifted, but also what remains true in this world. Because I think if you look back at the Agile Manifesto, it is purely about software development. It is purely about the engineering part of the process. We haven't actually had something that represents all of the considerations in getting a product into customers' hands and making it valuable. And so I do think there's an important role for this to play in helping provide that sort of holistic view, as well as the fact that the need for this is because everything is changing. We're revisiting established assumptions and practices. And so actually that guidance on both what is true and like, yes, this remains keep going, as well as these are things you need to think about and do differently, I think is actually really important in this context.
And while everyone in the business has always had an opinion on how to build things, as in just do it, already know what to build, just get it done, why isn't it done already? There's always been a divide between people who know how to code and people who don't, and people who don't assume that they can. But everyone in the business knows that they can prioritize, whether they can do it well and whether they can do the job of what we've been saying as product people for a long time is another matter entirely. But there isn't that same dividing line between I know I can do this and I know I can't. And now with the tools that we've got, everyone has the potential to be a maker of some sort. So I think this is incredibly relevant and important. I'm really glad we're doing this now.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this week, because getting ready for next week from where you were. The question that I've been asking you every week up until recently is, are you charging yet? Where are you in beta? But now you're going out onto big stages to talk about Discoveree. And what do you want to get done this week? Where do you have to get to feel ready?
Yeah, that's such an important question. We actually have, over the last week or so, the engineer has been helping make some reasonably significant changes to the architecture, because one of the things I realized actually when I was working with DJ to test it was the EU environment actually wasn't as up to date as what I thought it had been. And actually that's really important for a few reasons. I'm expecting most of our customers will be UK EU based. Initially, that's where we've done most of the testing. But actually it really played out in some other ways as well. Like he had quickly set up the EU version quite late at night. So sort of did it on his own Replit account, which doesn't have the same license that I've got. And so it had a little made with Replit badge on it, and payments weren't quite working properly. There was a few things like that. It's like, actually, no, we need to get this set up properly and working well now. So we have done those changes. I need to go through and test it all and make sure that it's up to date and working well across both instances. There is some, the changes I was making when the agents broke, I didn't test those properly, obviously, so I need to go back through and test all of that really well. For the product presentation, I am going to highlight some of the things in Discoveree as examples of the lessons I've learned and the way to think about or do AI native products differently. And so I absolutely need to make sure those features are working the way I want them to before I record that. I've been holding off on doing a demo video of the product, which a few people have asked me for, because I was trying to get these last things sorted within the product. So I need to get that done and online as well. Like, they're not massive things. I just need to sit down and crack through it, basically. So that's the primary goal for this week. My aim is by Wednesday or Thursday to message all of the beta testers saying it's now available. If you want to use it, please do. We will have a discount code I will include as part of the presentation at Mind the Product and Productized that people can use to sign up. Yeah, so I have talked about avoiding anything that looks like a big bang launch. The way this has sort of played out, it turns out it's been looking a lot more like a big bang launch with these two big conferences in 1 week, but I'm not going to complain, that's for sure.
Yeah, you can't waste an opportunity like this. It may not have been the original plan, but plans change.
Yeah, definitely. As I said, it's such an honor.
I'm looking forward to following up as we plan everything for next week and hang out a lot next week.
Yeah, indeed.
Fantastic. Well, so we probably won't record an episode next week. Actually, no, that's not true. We are recording a live episode at Productized, all things going well, but we won't record one from these backgrounds. And then we'll be back here in our offices in 2 weeks' time, and we'll pick up and talk about where the manifesto is, where Discoveree is, how the conferences went, and we'll follow on from there.